Hello everyone and welcome to this pick a card reading video. In this video, we will be looking at what will be going on for you for this winter 2025 to 2026. And even if you live in the southern hemisphere, basically this is just for the time period of around December 21st to around March 21st, okay? That few month period. And you can also, even if you're drawn to this at a different point in time, maybe it's not even within this time frame, you can still listen to this and then apply the messages for around the next 3 months of your life. Here is stack 1A, stack 2B, stack 3C, stack 4D, stack 5E. You can pause if you'd like and if you need some more time to figure out which stack you're most drawn to. If you're not drawn to any of the stacks, that's completely fine. This just might not be the pick a card reading video for you, but I have plenty of other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. As a reminder, everything I talk about and discuss in this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. Alright, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The cards here are the Four of Wands upright, the Four of Cups upright. Axel, I am so sorry. He was sniffing at the microphone. Okay, Four of Wands upright, Four of Cups upright, Seven of Pentacles upright, King of Wands upright, Five of Pentacles upright, and the Fool upright. So all of the cards are in upright position. And then for the oracle cards, I will read in the guidebook later on. And then also there's something else later on in the video that I will bring up, so stay tuned. But we have 45 7th house relationship and 24 Saturn structure, and 24 is almost exactly half. Wait, no, it's not. Oh my god, I was thinking about this earlier. I thought wait, half of 45 is 22 and a half, isn't it? I don't know, I was thinking about how like 24 is almost half of that. Anyway, I guess not. So we also have Snake Healing, You Are a Healer. For you, I feel like the main thing you need to think about and consider is that you will. Sorry, my cat is distracting me. Honey, lay down. The main thing to consider for you is that there's a lot of different areas of life that will be impacted. When I think of Saturn, when a lot of people think of Saturn, they think of work and career, but also general responsibilities, maybe even family. And 7th house does deal with relationships, specifically romantic relationships and commitments, even business partnerships. And for you all, I feel like there's just so much that's going to happen. And in a good way, in a positive way. It feels like all the hard work you've put toward something in your life is paying off. And it also feels like you've been thinking about a lot of things long term. That's what the Seven of Pentacles is all about. It's about long term. And the Four of Wands is all about celebration and even success. So I feel like there could be multiple things that you've been working hard toward and you'll be validated in some way. And you will be like, I can see you kind of being, I know we don't have the Six of Wands here, which is about like being put on a pedestal, being well known for things, but I feel like people around you will lift you up during this time as well. It feels like people will be very proud of you for this winter and or this December through March time period. It feels like people will really value your work as well. For some reason, I feel like your work will be very impactful in some way. I feel like inadvertently, the stuff you do in life, like what you do for career, but also just how you are in your relationships, you seem like a very happy-go-lucky person. At least that's the way this is coming across, because there's a lot of Sagittarius energy here, maybe that's why, but it feels like you're somebody who you're not afraid to go after something. Maybe you're not generally like that. Even if so, during this time period, I see you going after things continuously. So I see you being rewarded for your efforts and for the hard work you have put in. But I also see you continuing. to try new things and do new things. It's like once one thing is celebrated, once you achieve one thing, it's celebrated, then you're immediately on to the next thing. And I think it's because you really do have this big plan for yourself for what you would like to achieve in life, for what you would like to do. It seems like you've been very sure of yourself and who you are for a long time now. So it feels like the things that are happening and that you are achieving, it just makes sense. And it makes sense for your timeline. It seems like things are happening at the proper pace, in proper timing. I will say though, because we have the Five of Pentacles here and that is mirrored by the Four of Cups, Spirit is saying that instead of only just working on something new right away, you need to have time to rest and have time for yourself. It feels like you haven't really been showing gratitude for all the opportunities that have presented themselves to you. So Spirit wants you to practice more gratitude for this time period, and they want for you to take more rest periods. You can be inspired by things and you can still have these big visions and dreams for yourself. We need to take more time to rest. And during those resting periods, you can still have time of thinking of new ideas for things to do or thinking of new things to incorporate into your life. It feels like you just have such a zest for life, or at least you will during this time period, that you'll just want to do so many things. But Spirit is saying you need to balance this out. And I'm getting a sense of, you know how like during the day, like during the workday, people have designated breaks. Like take the designated breaks. Don't work during those time periods. Try to rest on the weekends, but I'm also getting a sense that during this time, well, I guess it does make sense because it's the holidays, but make sure that during this time, you can even have time maybe away from work where you're not doing much. I'm not saying that it's a good thing for you to do a lot of partying during this time. I think it's a good time to rest. And replenish your energy is a good way to describe it. And also with you are a healer too. If there's anything, like you might even get some physical ailments during this time. 'Tis the season for that. So make sure if you do get sick at all, that Spirit wants for you to take that time to rest. And that doesn't mean that you're being taken away from, or how do I want to say this? That doesn't mean opportunities are being taken away from you. I feel like for you, you're a very naturally lucky person, at least you will be during this time, so anything that has to be put on pause, you'll I think, maybe even realize, it was a good idea for me to wait to do this thing, or wait to call, or put in an application, but oh, Axel, do not do that. Sorry, he just swatted at the microphone. What are you doing? Um, and actually, him doing that, it does make me think too for you all that I think you'll have a lot of creative energy during this time. And I think you will want to be, hmm, I think you're really good. I wonder if you're somebody who's more of an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert, either or you just like maybe you flow through life. Sometimes you're more introverted, sometimes you consider yourself an extrovert. But it feels like you'll be able to bounce through that during this time period. It really is a period of balance where there's a lot going on. So that's why you need to have time to reflect and like take time for yourself. And during those times to yourself, it's like without having to exert energy, ideas will just flow to you. And that's the best form of creativity and the best form of like problem solving and solutions and all that is when it just comes to you naturally. You don't even have to try to think hard and exert a lot of energy. I don't see you needing to get like help from external people at this point in time. I just think you will be very self-sufficient and you'll be able to do a lot on your own. And that you will be able to, but here's the thing. I think people will still be involved in your life during this time. Obviously, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 at the time of me looking at the computer right now. Everybody pause and make a wish. And also, I wasn't even planning on filming this little piece because I'm about to have lunch soon and I was just gonna like relax. But I'm like, I feel like I should get started on this, well, especially because there's 5 stacks. But for you all, I feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, that could actually be a very important number sequence. You might actually see that quite a bit because for you, it just feels like things divinely happen. I think you'll see a lot of synchronicities happening as well. But during this time period as well, you're being encouraged to spend more time with loved ones. It doesn't have to just be people who you're romantically involved with, but that could be a good idea. Also, Four of Wands can indicate engagements or weddings, so you could have your own engagement or wedding, or you could be celebrating somebody else's engagement or wedding in some capacity. Also, the Four of Wands just indicates the new year, so I feel like I wonder if for the new year you have a lot planned, like even if it's like a trip somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if you do have a trip somewhere, but make sure you're not doing so much on the trip that you overexert yourself, because there's really a sense of like a balance of exertion versus relaxation. So make sure you're doing that during this time period, and that's just what I see working out best for you. I don't know if I said this yet, but I do see potentially you could grieve something. There could be something that you do have to grieve, or there's some sort of loss during this period. I don't get the sense that it will get you quote unquote off track, because I think for a lot of you, like say if you if you like no longer start no not speak. Let's say you cut off ties with a friend, now a prior friend during this time. Then that's oh, and the snake healing, that's part of what needs to be healed, right? And now is actually a really good time for things to be decluttered out of your life, because you just don't have the time or energy. You're just like, I just have time for the things that make me happy, and this is a really good time period for that. It feels like a lot of big major changes are coming your way, but but it won't be anything you can't handle, especially if you take those periods of rest and breaks, right? And it just feels so positive, but that's why with these two middle cards and then the healing card, there is something that will need to be grieved during this time. Um, I don't wanna give too specifics, I don't want anybody to worry about anything, but I don't get the sense that this is, like, something that will steer you off course. And I was gonna say, a little bit ago, some of you, I think maybe struggle with taking breaks even if bad things happen, or if things happen that you need to address. So for some of you, this will indicate that there will be something of a loss or something you need to grieve that will force you to reflect and to take more time of rest and breaks. And I don't know how to best describe this except for saying this thing that will be grieved will provide you with more love and inspiration. Like it'll just drive you to want to do more, accomplish more, and it will just it will just encourage you to want to continue to be a better version of yourself. And you're the type of person who I think every year it seems like you go through a glow up for the most part. That's, I mean, life goes through its ebbs and flows. I also feel like astrologically during this time, there will be a lot going on with aspects. Even if they're negative aspects, I feel like they'll turn out positively because of your attitude and your mindset and just what you decide to do with your time. But yeah, with Saturn here in structure, that makes me think I want to talk a little bit about family, because I feel like it will be an important time to be around family. And I think you'll have fun times with friends, with loved ones, and all that, and even with family. But I do want to mention that it feels like you'll receive certain information as it relates to family or family structure that might throw you off guard a bit. So there might be something you have to, I guess, quote unquote, handle, you could say, as it relates to family, something that maybe is out of the ordinary. And yeah, so just keep that in mind. Also, it feels like things might get a bit hectic, so that's why I think for a lot of you it would be good during this time to schedule and plan things out. Even though I see you having a lot of creative inspiration, plan things out, because it feels like doing so will allow for certain opportunities to open for you. Even if it's something just like a friend asking to hang out and you're like, well, I'm not available on this day, but what about this day? I know for sure I'm available. Instead of just not planning things out and then you're busy when other people want to hang out, or when this certain opportunity gets provided for you. And it feels like over the past few years, really, you've really been just working on yourself and trying to figure out what it is you want to do in life, who you are. And there's a lot of individuality in here. I talked about that before, but yeah, even though there's so many people who are around you, and I feel like you are so loved, and during this time period, I think Spirit really wants you to notice that more. How the bonds you have help create who you are, but also I think a lot of you have come a long way, and you just continuously grow and evolve and become a better person. And I think a lot of people around you are super proud of you, and you just encourage and inspire other people to be the best version of themselves as well. And I feel like during this time period as well, I feel like you'll be very helpful toward other people. So there's this big balance, right? Of being by yourself, doing things for yourself and by yourself, but also being with people and also being helpful to people. And I think you're naturally like that anyway, a lot of you. And it feels like that's part of the reason karmically a lot of good things will happen for you during this time. And in general, why I feel like you're naturally very lucky is because you're a good person and you're very helpful for other people and you're considerate of other people, their wants, their needs, their feelings, their thoughts. And so because of that, sorry, also, my cat is in his litter box, but I'm just gonna keep charging on. So sorry if you can hear that. But yeah, it just feels like karmically, the more good you do for others, the more comes back to you. Because I also don't think you go into things with the mindset of, oh, now because I'm doing something good, good will happen to me. You don't think like that because you have a good heart. You just do good things. So therefore, good things happen for you and to you. And I'm seeing that during this time period that will continue to happen. There's just a lot of blessings coming in, but main thing Spirit wants to highlight is that you practice more gratitude and you practice how far you've come. And that prepares you for these other new blessings that are coming in. There's just a lot of good things I see here for you, a lot of new beginnings and new experiences, all of that. I'll go into the guidebooks now. I want to read just where it says gift and challenge. So we have 45, seventh house relationship. Challenge. When you are working in tandem in love or in business, it can be tempting to either give your power away to your partner or take over theirs. An unbalanced relationship can become untenable. Gift. Fertilize the ground of your partnership. Feed your partner with romantic moments and fair and honorable arrangements. When you are fascinated by the spirit of another, they can become fascinated with you. Yeah, I don't know if this really provided any extra feedback or messaging. It just feels like seventh house will be highlighted. So for some of you that is romantic relationships, and for the other parts of you who are other parts of you, the other people listening to this, I think it's just about the close relationships you already have. Continuing to foster those people you are close with and being around them during this time will be very helpful and inspiring for you in some way. And then for the other card, we have 24 Saturn structure. And it says challenge. Be careful not to cling to old conceptions of success or hold on to a brittle system that restricts potential and leaves people discouraged. Gift. The ancestors call you to wisdom and maturity, to know your gifts and limitations. This process may be an initiation, a test that empowers you. Yeah, I really feel like a lot of you, there's a lot of mature energy in this as well, but there's also a lot of youthful energy in this. It's very Sagittarius to Capricorn energy. And so it feels like as you continue to grow, like, and as you evolve, you mature. And I feel like you're very good at learning lessons and taking them to heart and trying to grow from anything you've made a mistake on, any feedback you get from other people. During this time, if you continue to do that, you continue to be given feedback and grow from that and not take anything negatively, like try to just grow and be better. And also any negativity that would be thrown your way. I feel like you're naturally like this, but I'll just say during this time period, try not to take it too personally. Just try to be like, okay, this person is trying to maybe help, and if I don't feel it's helpful, then I'll just stick to what I know or stick to what other people are telling me. And yeah, but during this time, there will be a lot of, or at least I don't want to say a lot, but there's a lot that will go on. But I think there will be a few key moments where you'll have some epiphanies that will help you grow, evolve, and mature specifically. That's part of your evolution, is to mature and to realize how you can do things differently. So that will be a key theme for you during this time period. Now let's go to the other guidebook. Snake Healing Your Healer. The healing gifts you possess are not actually yours. They emanate from divine spirit and are grounded in your body, and it's through your body that this force is focused and expressed. The two areas that are hot spots for this concentration of life force are your heart and your hands. Pay attention to these areas and do whatever you must to keep them energetically clear. An effective way to clear your heart and hands is to purge them by bathing with white light, allowing whatever psychic debris has been rinsed off with the light to drain down your spine and legs and out through the soles of your feet into Mother Earth. She will readily and easily accept this invisible toxic waste and transform it into a new life. Don't fear your healing power. It's your destiny to relieve the suffering of others, and as you do so, you transform your own suffering from this and other lifetimes into compassion and love, which is the purest, excuse me, which is, where to go? The purest expression of life energy you can have. That is healing, no matter what the form is. The more open you remain, the more the master power of the universe can come through you and create miracles. So yeah, really be open during this time. I feel like you are a pretty open-minded person and just an open and receiving person anyway, but yeah. Additional associations: rebirth, sexuality, transmutation, transformation. Yeah, I think there's a lot that will, it won't feel like a lot, but there will be major transformations, but I really can't emphasize, it'll feel so natural. It won't feel like a burden. It won't feel like anything that's overpowering or scary. Everything feels very natural. Like everything very much is in divine timing, happening exactly as it needs to. And you'll just very naturally continue to grow and evolve during this time. It's a very powerful time. So you individually will grow, but also your relationships will grow, your career will grow, your hobbies, interests, and passions will grow. Everything just seems like it will go through this period of growing. The more you grow, these other things will also grow. And I love how I've talked about how you are a healing presence and energy, because you truly are. Like your words, like the hugs you give, any which way in which you best show love for others will be really impactful during this time. And I just feel like you're such a loving person that it's really good to give that love, but also to receive it during this time. And it talked about rebirth, and that's what the Fool, well, that's what Death card is about, but also the Fool is about those new beginnings, and so I associate rebirth with that as well. And sexuality can be tied to the 7th house. Transmutation, transformation, there's just so much of you that will, so many parts of you that will grow and evolve. And I just see so many different areas of your life being impacted, but in a way that does not overwhelm you. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay, now what I will do is you can look here. I will provide a couple of minutes for you to meditate on these cards. Specifically, ask 3 different questions. They don't have to be yes or no answer questions. They can be any type of questions as you like, but look at these 3 cards and think about what questions come to mind in relation to each of these cards. So try not to just think of random questions and be like, well, but really want to know about this. Look at the cards because they provide answers. So questions should come to you from looking at these cards and the answers that are provided. They can be questions related to any of the messages that I've talked about in this reading or during this winter, or even just life in general, whatever you feel called to do, whatever questions you feel called to ask as they relate to these cards. So I will give you some time to meditate with these cards and think of questions and also just connect with the cards. I'll give a period of a couple of minutes, but if you want to skip forward or pause a video or anything, you certainly can. But I will start this period right now. Okay, here are the answers for your questions. So we have the first card that says yes, the second angel answers card says trust, and the third angel answers card says improving health. So I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, One for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel, that helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel, and you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR, that will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, One, and take care. Hello, Tubi, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. So the cards that we have here are that's the 10 of Pentacles, right? 79, 10. Okay, just making sure. I actually haven't pulled the 10 of Pentacles from this deck in a while. Anyway. So yeah, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, Queen of Cups in reverse, Page of Pentacles in reverse, Page of Swords in reverse, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 7 of Swords upright. So that's the last card is the only one in the upright, as you can see. And then for the oracle cards, we have 10 Capricorn achieve and 22 Mars motion. So 22 is an angel number there. Also 10 reduces down to 1. So angel numbers 1 and 2, 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4, 4. But I will read in the guidebook for that later on, as well as I will read from the Power Animal Oracle Cards guidebook for Pelican, Forgiveness, Let Go of Your Judgments. And then later on, I'll have you ask some questions, and you'll get some answers for those questions. You'll see what I mean toward the end. But for now, let's just get into this. So, for your winter 2025-2026, or from around December 21st to around March 21st, I see that there is a heavy emphasis on work and career, but for some of you, this will relate to your schooling or, college or post-grad, any of that. So, I mainly will, I think, be talking about career and work, but just know that you could easily replace that with, not career, with college or something similar to college. All right, so where do we even start with that, though? Okay. It appears that for this time period, you will... I'm trying to find the words for how to say this. It doesn't look bad, but it looks like you'll have to, with this 7 of Swords upright, you'll really have to start cutting corners. It seems like some of you maybe hit against a wall, or maybe a lot of you just feel invalidated by your efforts. For some of you, ooh, and with Mars, okay, wait. First, I want to say some of you may even quit your job during this time period. Some of you, I think, aren't being appreciated at your work. So it's like you'll need to be sneaky and trying to find new work. So during this time, if you're trying to, or if you end up finding new work or you're getting interviews done and all that, try to not tell people at your workplace, because it feels like the environment of your workplace isn't the best. And it feels like it would go back around to like a boss or a manager, a leader of some kind, and then it looks like they would try to like fire you before you leave. Okay. So for those of you who are in a job, who are at a job and you would like to leave, make sure you're not telling people. Even be careful about, I'm hearing that you should even be careful about telling people in your personal life. For some reason, it just feels like people will be judgmental about that. And we do have Pelican with Let Go of Your Judgment, so I think you could struggle during this time of not being judgmental of other people's judgments. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we can get angry about other people holding judgment towards us, which makes sense. So in order to prevent that, it's probably best to try to not tell people. But I think that if you were to find a new career elsewhere or a new job elsewhere, then I think people could be judgmental about that anyway, even after the fact. So that's why it's like you should just wait so that you don't hear what people have to say to try to get you to like snap out of this line of thinking or going somewhere else. That's really a big thing that Spirit wants to say. And then for those of you who are in college, I wonder if some of you maybe want to switch careers, or some of you maybe want to go back to college because it seems like maybe your career isn't working out for you if you're in college, and maybe your degree, you're just like, this isn't what I thought it would be, or I don't like it the way I thought I would. So then Spirit is saying to potentially try to go back to college or to change your degree. And I feel like people will be judgmental about that as well for some of you who are thinking about that or going back to college. Because some of you maybe, when I think of these Pentacles cards, I wonder if some of you have a line of work that has the potential for making you a lot of money if it doesn't already. And so I wonder if there's a lot of societal pressures for a lot of you as well, it feels like, to do a certain job, or if it's something that's like in your, how do I explain? Like in your line of, in your family line, like say you come from a family of doctors and they want you to be a doctor, so you try to do that. What I'm trying to say is that with these Pentacles cards here, and they're making that triangle formation, love that. It indicates to me actually that some of you maybe make good money or again have the potential to make good money, but this would show that it's not worth the money. That a lot of you, oh, you know what this makes me think of too? It makes me think of at the time of filming this, there isn't like a, I'm filming these quite a ways in advance, these pick-a-cards, but it looks like I'm getting visuals of the the stock market crash, right, in 2008, 2007, 2008. Some of you might have careers that during this time go through some sort of crash. There's some sort of hit. So if a lot of you are involved in a financial or real estate type career, business even type career, it seems like either way, whatever it is, you will be very impacted by that because your career or your type of work will be impacted by that. So be careful for those things. This can also indicate having to work a lot harder and a lot more during this season. Some people, have to work more during this time of year. Like, say, even if you're a tax consultant, then you have a lot more to do for that. So it seems like you'll be very busy. It seems like with Mars being here, things will progress very quickly either way. There's so many messages coming through for me for this. There was something else I was just about to say, but I wanted to finish up what I was just saying. Oh gosh, what was I about to say? Oh, for those of you who have money in like stocks or crypto bonds, I don't know much about finances and all that. All the financial stuff like Wall Street. Not even Wall Street. Is it Wall Street? Anyway, some of you, if you have money invested, then I would really be careful about that. You might have hits to those financial aspects as well. And or there could even be damage to your property during this time. So make sure you have really good insurance. It makes me think of this Eight of Pentacles here. Like, you don't want your hard work to be overshadowed by these issues you now have to pay for. That makes sense. Like, you work hard. It's like you could maybe have a good amount of money in savings, but then you have to use all that for damage to your home. It makes me think of the fires that happened in California and how some insurance companies during the LA fires that happened around a year ago, how they, yeah, how like insurance companies like State Farm had just taken away 2-3 months before that happened, the event happened, they had taken away fire damage insurance for homes and for property. So really be careful about that. It seems like there will be a lot of inconsistencies for this time period for you all, but it also feels like a very exciting time period as well. I feel like a lot of you like to live life on the edge, or it'll just feel like that during this time period where it'll be like there's so much happening all around me. It's like you're walking through the fire. It's like there's so much happening, but I have so much to also look forward to, so I'm just going to keep at it. It's very much those vibes. And with the Page of Swords in reverse, it makes me think that things can't stop you. With Mars and Capricorn achieve, it's like there's a lot of chaos that will happen during this time period, but you won't be stopped. You will continuously focus on what you can do to adapt. And you will need to adapt very quickly during this time because of so much going on and so much that will need to be resolved right away. And with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse too, some of you could have issues with family. Particularly, it could be hard to see family during this time. It also feels like, um, with family or anybody that's close to you, people could take advantage of you during this time. And it feels like with the Queen of Cups in reverse, ooh, Seven of Swords, it feels like people could take advantage of you financially, or people could even try to stay at your home. Like if somebody becomes houseless. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but you could deal with fraud, so be careful about making sure you have secure passwords, changing passwords, updating things, having like two-factor authentication processes throughout your different accounts. But yeah, I wanna go back to it feels like also people just in general, like, it'll be hard to get along with people, as it relates to work and family and people closest to you, but it feels too that people could easily lie to you during this time. But again, we have these oracle cards here, so Spirit is saying to not let things affect you too deeply, but with the tarot cards, it's really indicating that there could be people who are I mean, literally, the Seven of Swords is all about lying and deceit, manipulation, being sneaky around people, and skirting around things. So I feel like this could even reference you, by the way, because I was getting the sense that for some of you, this is actually earlier on. I don't think I said this, but for y'all, I think a lot of you will need to cut quarters during this time. So you know what? It could be other people. It could be that you need to be the one. It could be even a balance of many things. Maybe the reason why you're withholding information or not being as truthful is because other people around you are also being that way. So you have to be careful about who you trust during this time period. It's a good time to evaluate the people in your inner circle as well. It's like, do you trust these people in general, or is it just something going on right now, like for your career? Do you just not trust talking to them about your career? It feels like, uh, since you can't trust people, you probably shouldn't tell the full truth for people, so you might also need to be careful too, or if a family member was like, "Hey, can you hang out during this time?" You may have to lie and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy," but maybe it's just that this person is very draining, or this person is a very just bad person, so you don't wanna be around them. So, really consider that there's a balance between you needing to be sneaky, but also you being aware of other people being sneaky. But I think the way this energy comes across is that it's been like this, like it's a dynamic between friends or family or like the workplace where people can't be fully truthful. It seems like that dynamic is already in place. And with Pelican here, it's saying to like not try to be judgmental because for some reason there might be some validity to why people are withholding information or maybe not even being the best people. And Spirit is really saying to focus on yourself. With these oracle cards especially, it's like it's a time to focus on your own journey. During this time period, I don't see you being around too many people. It's like you're so laser focused, and I feel like a lot of you are driven, will be driven during this time. And I'm hearing that you'll try to correct any wrongs, and that could mean like if there's any mistakes you've made recently or any missteps, or such as like maybe being lazy, haven't been working as hard, then maybe now's the time to right those wrongs by working harder. Just think about things like that. Any wrongs that have been had, any missteps that have been taken, now is the time to right any wrongs, or I also see again picking up momentum happening, and I just see things happening very quickly. So try to I see if you try to schedule and plan things out, it probably won't work as well. What I'm hearing and seeing is that whatever gets thrown at you, we bring up the adaptability again. So if you're able to quickly come up with solutions or new ideas, I see that being beneficial for you to be able to continue moving forward, making progress, and whatnot. And I see this being a time though where you're probably not very tuned into your emotions. I'm getting a sense that this will be like some of you maybe are like, yeah, I'm not a very emotional person in general, but I'm getting going beyond that, where it seems like you just won't be able to evaluate how you're feeling much. this will be more of a logical time. So if you find that at the end of this time period, this winter, that you haven't, like, you've kind of almost acted on impulse, Spirit is saying that for this time period, it's okay. Like, you should still try to check in with yourself, but if you're not able to uh evaluate your feelings as much, Spirit is saying to do this after this time period is over. Right now, you have to be very quick thinking and quick acting. So think with your logical brain and an intuitive, use your intuitive part of yourself as well. But you'll have to react and act quickly. And then you'll be able to think and evaluate emotionally later on. Okay, I will leave that there and go into the guidebooks now for any extra clarification. I will only be reading from the challenge and gift portions. So we have 10 Capricorn achieve. Challenge. Keep an eye on the power dynamics. Without integrity, Capricorn ambition can enable gross manipulation. Control a tendency to become controlling or manipulative when feeling anxious. Do not fall in love with others' competence. Let it inspire your own. That actually makes sense here with what I was saying with the Seven of Swords energy and how that translates to all the other tarot cards here. It could be other people, it could be you, but I think for most of you it's a balance of both. So be careful about any ambitions you have, that you're not stepping on too many toes. Even if other people have wronged you or not been as truthful with you, you can, to an extent. This is saying that you might need to cut corners in some way or not be fully truthful with people, but try not to have it be that you're so driven by ego and by material success or accomplishments. So you can still have the need to not be fully truthful during this time, but don't go overkill with it, basically. Gift. Wisdom grown over time and through mature experiences, the gift of Capricorn, as is connection to the spiritual traditions and disciplines that offer a sound foundation for our evolution. And a lot of you seem like you're not really on stable footing right now, but it seems like you will be in the future if you make the proper adjustments during this time period. And then for the other card, we have 22 Mars motion. Challenge. Domineering willfulness, misuse of sexuality, anger, belligerence, and a warlike mentality are the shadow side of Mars. Break the momentum if your situation heads downhill. Stop for a moment and think through your next move. Yeah. So again, you should try to find some moments of stopping and pausing. I don't see it being easy to do that during this time. And I think most of it will have to be after the fact, but you have to still prevent yourself from doing too much. And with the anger, I'm glad it brought that up, because with manipulation and with, like, not fully telling truths, you run the risk of having anger issues, which I do see as a big possibility here. So be careful and when let go of your judgments. Pelican is here. And the pelican is such a gentle presence. So it's saying that through this time, try not to be too angry about other people's decisions or even your own, because I think there could be a lot of self-projecting onto other people during this time as well. So just make sure that you're not letting anger overtake you or any of your decisions. Don't come from a place of making decisions from anger. Do it from intelligence. I think you're a very intelligent group, so use your intellect. Also, even use your wit. I think a lot of you are very good with your words, so use your words wisely during this time. Gift. The higher note of Mars energy manifests as a divine guardian, your potent inner first responder who is ready to be the hero in a dangerous situation and protect you and yours. Yeah, a lot of chaos going on. So just stay strong. Capricorn and Mars here are very strong cards. So mentally stay strong. And remember that at the end of this period, things should hopefully ease a bit and become more peaceful. Now let's go into the Animal Oracle guidebook. I almost flipped to it. Okay, Pelican forgiveness, let go of your judgments. And this is on page 90, so 9 is also about releasing. Perfect, because 90 reduces down to 9. Okay. Each time you judge yourself or others, you immediately create the illusion of separation. Separation from your environment, from other human beings, and most critically, separation from the Creator and all of creation. Immersing yourself in this illusion creates pain that manifests as hurt, anger, or even attack in words or deed. Yeah, a lot of anger stuff is coming up, so be careful about that. And don't let other people's anger toward you cause you to be angry, or just any situation in life. Like, there's a lot of high stress going on. So try not to let anger overrun you. Use your anger as a positive means to getting things done rather than tearing other people down, okay? And if you stop and reflect, you'll find that what you judge in others is really a projection of a shadow aspect of yourself. That's quite literally what I was just saying. Therefore, the source of these judgments is not just contained in the other. It's something in yourself that you may not be aware of. Once you realize how judgments separate, there's an opportunity to forgive. First, the other person for his or her perceived transgressions or shortcomings, then yourself as you identify the shadow aspect in you that you had projected onto this individual. In the light of this realization, an illusion of separation vanishes. This is true forgiveness, not an empty mantra you repeat over and over again in order to support some false notion of forgiveness, but a genuine release of any and all judgments. There's the release. When you've forgiven, this act returns you to a state of love, acceptance, and peacefulness. You'll know when this has happened because you'll feel the natural and tranquil state of unity with the Creator and all of creation. Additional associations are grace, unselfishness, self-sacrifice, and cooperation. That's the thing, too. Like, some of you... Oh, my cat is sniffing all up on the mic. Sorry if you hear that. That's the thing, too, is that some of you... What's really important to know... And see, now I got distracted by my cat. What was I going to say? Some of you also, maybe there's people you need to forgive that aren't in your life. You can forgive, or you can at least work through issues that you have, and you can release those things even if you don't talk to any people that are involved. That can be something you just do personally for yourself. Like, to yourself, alone at home or wherever is a safe space. And... So yeah, I see working through these anger issues could be helpful. I still get the sense that a lot of you will have to, like, kind of not be fully truthful with certain people, but while doing that, try to come from a place of understanding why that may be the case. Why you may not be able to be fully truthful with people. Some of you, what you need to do during this time is, with letting go of judgments of others, you also need to, because it's, again, focusing on yourself during this time period, you may need to cut ties with people. You may need to have better boundaries, but you may need to just fully end relationships with people. And I feel like that will be very hard at first. And I still see that being something, though, that is very necessary for you all, because it's obviously having an impact on your mental health. All three of these cards are mentioning issues with anger. And so in order to work through those things, there's a lot you need to do during this time. I see there being a lot going on, so eliminating distractions the best you can, and distractions mainly in the form of people in your life that are not good for you. And for some of you, it's maybe that people are trying to help you become a better person, but you're just not willing to accept that. So there's maybe a lot of work you need to do now and in the future to... Part of the righting the wrongs is that you need to work on yourself to not be such an angry person and to not be maybe a negative or bad person even to other people, or maybe just in certain relationships. You project so much or you're kind of a bad person. So there's a lot, and I don't get the sense that you're, like, inherently a bad person. I just think there's a lot that you have on your plate right now. So I think there's a lot of stress that's bubbling up. So I think now is also a time to let those frustrations and let that anger out, but not in a way that's too hurtful to other people, right? But letting those frustrations out, realizing what they are, and then finding that peace on the other end of this time period. Does that all make sense? Okay, I'll leave that there, and then I will go to these cards. So if you see these cards laid out, these cards are answers to questions. And I want you to look at each card presented here, and I want you to think of whichever question comes to mind for these answer cards. And it could be a question related to anything I've said in this reading, or it could be a question related to this time period. It could be a question related to anything. Just think about intuitively whatever comes to mind whenever you look at each individual cards. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll give you some time to meditate, look at these cards, connect with these cards. I'll do a couple minutes on here, and if you want to skip forward at any point to the actual answers, you can, but I will have the 2 minutes of connecting to these cards and all of that starting right now. Okay, everybody, so here are the answers for your questions here. The first card is abundance. The answer for the second question is choose a new direction. And for this third card, it says in the near future. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, everybody, for 2B, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with the stack, and you can provide any updates sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel, it helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel, and you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR, that will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 2B, and take care. Hello 3C, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The cards pulled here are the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Knight of Wands upright, the Devil in reverse, the Eight of Wands in reverse, the Eight of Swords upright, and the Emperor in reverse. And I love how the Devil in reverse and the Emperor in reverse are mirroring each other. And then we have two oracle cards here that have both contain angel numbers. So we have 11, Aquarius collaborate, and 44, 6th house sustainability. Kind of crazy. I think a lot of you, that's extra messaging that you are divinely protected during this time. 11 is associated with spirit and with intuition. 4s, 44, those numbers are connected to being protected and being told that you are safe. So really, Spirit is saying that you are divinely protected during this time. And I will read from the guidebooks for those later on, as well as I will read in the guidebook later on for Elephant. Resolve, you will overcome any obstacles. So I love how it says specifically the obstacles, because the Seven of Cups in reverse talks about obstacles coming our way. And with that mirroring the Eight of Wands especially, I mean the Eight of Swords being here, basically just what this all was saying to me when I was reading through the cards, what was being screamed at me was basically like, there's a lot that is going to happen outside of your control during this time period. And it will feel like with the Eight of Swords here, you will be a victim of your circumstances. It will feel like with the Knight of Wands, Spirit is saying to have confidence in yourself during this time with that Knight of Wands. So even though there's a lot that will go on, I think a lot of you too, it almost feels like you'll try to, when things are happening that are outside of your control, I feel like a lot of you will still try to control the narrative or control the potential outcome for something. I think that could make things a little bit worse. So what Spirit is saying is instead use and conserve your energy for, I guess you could say, self-protection. I was getting imagery. I feel like for this time period, this winter, you will probably have to be on the defensive quite a bit. It feels like people could really try to tear you down during this time period. So what Spirit is saying is to Well, first of all, no, there's so many messages come through. Aquarius is here, so I think a main reason that is showing up here is that during this time period, you will have to rely on friends and social connections to help get you through. And also, I feel like people will have to stand up for you in some way because it feels like there could be other people that try to tear you down, and then you have friends or family that stick up for you and are like, "No, that's not true," or, "You know what? I don't like how you're treating this person." That's how I'm getting the feeling for people in your life. And also, I'm hearing the term advocate, being an advocate. Sixth house also relates to teachers as well. And so I also think sixth house can be related to advocacy. I don't know why this is coming through, but people might need to advocate for you. It reminds me of me with my health issues. Whenever I've gone to the doctor alone, it's like doctors just say whatever they want to me, and people still say whatever they want to me when I have people there as well, like family members. But I feel like if you have somebody who's a family member who can vouch for you in those kinds of settings, it helps. Being like, "Hey, I see this person, I live with this person, I can see this going on." So something like that may happen during this time period where people will try to invalidate you or your experience for something, and you'll have people around you who will hopefully try to lift you up and try to be an advocate for you. And with the Emperor in reverse too, that ties in with the fact that we can't control. Ooh, yeah. During this time period, it's really important to remember that we can't control other people's narratives. The Devil in reverse indicates to me as well that we just have to let people believe what they want to believe about us. And if people are going to be mean to us, then we have a choice. We have a choice to be fully in that Eight of Swords energy, or what's mirroring that is that Knight of Wands. So Spirit is saying you also have to be an advocate for yourself the best you can, even if people don't believe you or don't take your word for things. Eight of Wands in reverse makes me think that during this time period, you'll have to really slow down. And because there's so much going on outside of your control during this time period, Spirit wants you to just relax as much as you possibly can. And also, a really key message is to not take things personally because, again, it feels like things will happen that will feel like a personal attack. Sometimes it will be, sometimes it won't be, and it'll just be part of the circumstances and the events that play out. But for the things that happen where people are being mean to us or people are trying to tear us down, Spirit is saying we have a choice in how we evaluate those words or those actions. Spirit is saying during this time period, it's really good to learn and understand how people's words and actions affect us, and understanding how we can instead not internalize those things, but rather, I guess, find better ways to cope with the negative circumstances or the negative things that are happening to us and around us. I think this group as well, it feels like when things happen to your friends and family, you also very much take those things to heart. So I think you're very much a sponge, you're very empathetic toward other people. So because of that, I think Spirit is saying to evaluate where you take on other people's energies during this time period. Not only during this time period where you do that, but also like previously, where let's say you have a friend going through a divorce and you're taking that on and you're being there for them, but in a your friend, maybe you're being there for your friend in many ways, but you're also making it quote unquote your issue. So it feels like you're the one that's going through that divorce yourself. I think a lot of you could also relate to the fact that you maybe just in general feel a lot more pain through other people's suffering and like nature, plants, animals as opposed to your own. We even have sixth house here, and that's the house of small animals. Oh, and Aquarius is a card about advocacy and about standing up and protesting. So I wonder if there will be a lot going on politically or socially during this time where you'll have to also be an advocate for people in your community. And it may feel like your voice isn't heard, but even though people might not listen to you at first, it may not seem like it, know that you leave an impact for now and the future, even if you don't see the immediate results. That's the thing too. I think if a lot of you don't see immediate results happening right now, that doesn't mean things won't happen or things won't get resolved. Okay, it just means that it might take some time. I see you needing to be very patient during this time, but I see you being very frustrated and having to be patient and having things play out, because I see a lot working against your favor. But if you're patient and trying to hold space and be as graceful as you can during this time, I see that being more playing out in the future more in your favor. Knight of Wands really wants me to emphasize, though, have confidence in yourself. Look and evaluate during this time period the ways in which you make yourself small, because we do have, it's mirrored by that Eight of Swords energy. So look at where you make yourself small, or look at where you don't believe in yourself specifically. Spirit is saying that a lot of you make yourself small, or you don't. Oh, you know what I'm hearing too? A lot of you, I think, give up before you even start, or as you're getting started on something. It seems like a lot of you just don't believe in yourself enough, or you hear other people's perceptions of you or anything you're working on, and so then you just give up because it's like you're being told to, and you believe other people's words. So Spirit is saying that you're more susceptible than that than ever, it feels like, during this time period. But with the Knight of Wands, Spirit is saying that now is the time to break through those barriers and look at, again, how people tear us down, but how we internalize that. We have a choice. Remember, we have a choice in how we perceive other people's perceptions. We can internalize, or we can just let them be that, perceptions that other people have about us. And I feel like a lot of you do need to take like a deep breath right now. Okay, ready? No, but seriously, it feels like a lot of you just view your life in a way that you can't achieve the things you want to achieve, especially in comparison to other people. And with Aquarius being here, Spirit is saying, oh, and 6th house too, honestly. 6th house and Virgo energy is very much collaborative in itself. It's about working with other people and highlighting other people as well. So instead of beating ourselves up during this time and thinking that we're not worthy of things, it's a good time now to surround yourself with people who uplift you, but who also believe in you. Talk about advocacy again, people advocate for you. It very much gives me the vibes of like people who start up a small business, or who start selling stuff on Etsy and or starting up a YouTube channel, and maybe you feel like people will be judgmental about that. I think a lot of you are just so afraid of being perceived a certain way and judged by the public. But Spirit is saying to embrace these different changes that put you more in the public eye, to be unafraid, and to rely on the people who are there to support you. And also a good thing to do during this time is to support other people in a way that inspires you. So let's say you have a friend who's starting up a small business. Now would be a good time to help support them. And I think, well, with you doing that, it will help you realize that you can do that for other people, and that other people can do that for you. I think a lot of you could also be afraid during this time to ask for help. And with that Knight of Wands energy, it's like you feel like you need to do everything yourself. The Devil in reverse, you feel like you will have all these burdens that you need to take on yourself. The Emperor in reverse, you will feel like you need to control the situation yourself. The Devil and the Emperor can be about control issues as well. I think a lot of you will have to evaluate the things that you try to control too much. It's a time of being present instead of focusing on how to control. Like, be present, don't control the present. It's the best way I can describe it. It feels like you will try to control situations, but since a lot of things are out of your control, Spirit is saying evaluate the things you are trying to control. Do you have control over these things you're trying to control? If you don't, why are you trying to control them? And I do get the sense too, because a lot of you, it just seems like you'll just be very much in your own head during this time period, and it will be hard for you to accept help. I think you'll give help to other people, but it will be hard for you to receive it yourself. Spirit is saying you don't have to be so hyper-dependent during this time, even though you will want to be. We literally have Aquarius in 6th house here, so it's good to be collaborative And 6th house Virgo energy is very much what you give is what you receive. To me, 6th house and Virgo energy, just earth sign energy, can be very karmic in general. A lot of people consider Saturn to be the planet of karma and therefore Capricorn, but I think earth sign energy can be that in general. So it's about also materially. So what you give is what you receive. If you help out somebody else, they will be more willing to help you out. And so I think Spirit is saying a lot of you during this time will struggle with being present and you will struggle with not being anxious because there's a lot of things you'll worry about and a lot of things you'll feel the need to control. But Spirit is saying to not let the need to control be what defines you. We have Elephant with Resolve here, and it says you will overcome any obstacles. So therefore, Spirit is saying that, especially with the help of, this is a key message, with the help of other people, you'll be able to come up with solutions. You'll be able to tackle problems. I see you helping other people, but other people also helping you. And it feels like with 6th house, this will kind of actually be a teaching moment for yourself and other people to determine how we can handle things moving forward and how we can not make issues our whole life. We aren't what happens to us. We can, like, what is it saying? How does it go? We aren't what happens to us, okay? What happens to us does not define us. But what we do with that, how we act and react is what more so defines us. And so it's a good time to lean on other people and other people lean on you. You need to, I think some of you open up more. It seems like you're very closed off because you're very individualistic and I think you're afraid of getting hurt from things. But now is a good time to open up. And with the Devil in reverse, I feel like there's a lot that you've been holding in. So I think revealing certain information, revealing how you've been feeling lately will help release you from this 8 of Swords energy. So anything you need to heal, Spirit is, during this time, Spirit is saying with these other cards as well, like, it will be a process, it will take time, and it will take time for you to, I see you maybe, like, throughout this time period with bits and pieces of information, like, relaying that to people. I don't see you exposing different things all at once, but I see you over time sharing more of how you're feeling about something. And Spirit is saying literally you're divinely protected not only from Spirit, but from your support system. People want to be there for you and help you. But I think a lot of you get in your own way and you think other people, you don't want to burden other people, or you think other people will judge you. Spirit is saying that people are around you right now who want to uplift you. So don't be afraid of judgments, because the most judgments that are being held toward you are the ones you hold toward you. Things don't have to be as scary as you're setting things up in your mind to be. I think a lot of, this fearful energy is coming from yourself. It's not about other people. It's about maybe past experiences as well, but it's like you internalize so much. So don't be afraid to ask for help during this time. I see it being a time where, you need to release some heavy burdens as well. Let's go into the guidebooks though. So I will only be reading from the challenge and gift parts. So let's go to 11 Aquarius Collaborate. It says challenge. Spiritual practice and personal philosophy can be used to bypass authentic emotions. So be honest with yourself and don't try to talk yourself into feelings you think you should have or onto a path that others find more socially acceptable. If your philosophy clashes with your honest feelings, then your philosophy needs to evolve. If your lifestyle is not in line with your philosophy, then one or both need to change. That's the thing too. It's like, I think there's a little bit of stuckness here. So there's maybe one thing that needs to be changed. And then you'll realize there's a cycle of events that will occur from this change. And I think that change will allow more harmony throughout areas of your life. I think you may cling to a certain area of life or a certain philosophy that you think keeps you safe. And maybe it's because you've believed it in the past. Maybe it's because of family traditions, whatever it is. Spirit is saying that isn't necessarily what keeps you safe now. And also, if there's anything culturally or family-wise that has been placed upon us, that doesn't mean we have to accept that or live out that quote unquote truth any longer. Gift. The authentic Aquarius gift encourages you to let go of previous constructs and listen to the source within. Honor the reality that you are a unique individual, but you also have your responsibility to contribute to the health of your community. I'm glad I brought up health too, because I didn't want to bring that up. Sixth house is about health as well. So now could be a time where you're being asked to look at how you can provide self-care for yourself when there are things going on outside of your control. So find ways to ground yourself and your energy. How do you act and react when things happen outside of your control that you wish you could control? What can you do instead of just trying to control things that you can't control? What are good habits you can adapt? And sixth house is also about eating whole foods, eating healthy, and also it's about exercise. So think about, yoga, think about slow to moderate exercise routines as well, and those things could help you during this time through any situations that are happening outside of your control. Also, I do want to bring up Eight of Wands in reverse can relate to travel issues, so be careful. You might realize that there are canceled plans as it relates to you traveling somewhere or even moving somewhere. I get more so it's the sense of you traveling places or meeting up with people, and if people say, I'm sorry, like all of a sudden this emergency happened, I don't want for you to spiral because of that. I think a lot of you spiral and think that people think the worst of you or that people are like lying to you, and that's not always the case. So try to find ways to ground your energy during this time. That would be very important and crucial for you all. And then for the other card, we have 44, sixth house sustainability. Challenge. Worry can give you the illusion that you're taking care of business, but it does not further your goals. Gift. You can create a beautiful and sustainable ecosystem out of your life as you pursue a delicious, healthy work-life balance. Yeah, balance is important for you all during this time. And the challenge, I think, especially is important to you. I'll read that again. Worry can give you the illusion that you're taking care of business, but it does not further your goals. There is a lot of worrying going on for this time. Spirit is saying to remind yourself that things that are outside of your control, to try not to worry so much. Just do the best that you can and try to find better ways to cope during this time. And then let's go into the other guidebook. Okay. Elephant resolve. You will overcome any obstacles. Move forward toward the fulfillment of your heart's desire. Let nothing stop you. If your goals and intentions are spirit driven, then it's only your ego's fear and discouragement that will stop you from achieving it. Dispel any resistance along the way until you reach your destination or accomplish your goal. Be the mightiest of warriors and see yourself as triumphant in your quest. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. A lot of you, it seems like you stop before you really get started, or you stop short because you think that things won't turn out the way you want. Don't be a perfectionist. There's a lot of perfectionist energy here, and Virgo and sixth house energy relates to that. Try not to be a perfectionist. To try to do the best that you can. Remind yourself that if you're doing the best that you can and if you're doing the best that you can, hopefully you can learn to be happy with the result because you're doing the best that you can and you're tapping into your vision or your creativity or whatever it is. You have an important mission. There's no point in dilly-dallying around, finding all sorts of distractions so you can avoid your destiny. Don't yield to temptations that entice you from your path. It's time to live your life according to the drive and desire of your inner spirit. Don't let yourself be stopped by someone else's disapproval. It's really not their disapproval so much as your fear of their disapproval. That's literally what I've been saying. It's especially important right now to not only speak your truth, but to live your truth. And by the way, have some fun while you're at it. That's what I was going to say to additional associations. Protective, motivated, maternal family. I was going to say that too. It seems like there's so much going on outside of your control. So Spirit wants you to have some lightheartedness, to not be a victim of your circumstances. So incorporate some fun activities into your life and in ways that are healthy as well. Healthy things can also be fun if you allow them to be, if you're not like, and even then it's like, don't be like, oh, I'm not doing this thing right. I'm not being healthy enough. I'm not doing this enough. Don't worry about that. And a lot of you will compare yourself to other people during this time. Spirit is saying to not do that, to focus on how you can work with other people other than compare yourself to other people. Or how you can be motivated by or inspired by other people, as opposed to thinking that other people do things better than you and all that. There's something else I was going to say here. Time to live your life. Drive. Oh yeah, distractions. The devil in reverse can also be about If you don't think you're good enough for something or someone, the Devil in reverse can indicate the distractions that you hold for people, but since it's in reverse, I feel like now's the time to evaluate those distractions. Look at what distracts you, that prevents you from the Eight of Wands, that prevents you from moving forward, that allows for blockages to occur, and that prevents forward progress. Look at the ways in which you distract yourself because you think that no matter what you do, you won't be good enough, or that it won't end up the way you'd like. Okay, and now what I will do is I will have you look at these cards here. These are cards from the Angel Answers Oracle deck, and yeah, they're answers. So what I want for you to do is think of questions that pop up intuitively when you look at each of these cards. It could be questions related to anything I've talked about. It could be related to, these questions could be related to this time period over these next few months. It could relate to literally anything going on in your life currently, anything that's on your mind. Just think about intuitively whatever question comes to mind while looking at each of these individual cards. I will give you some time to connect with the cards and to make sure you're intuitively thinking of correct questions for these cards. So I will give a couple of minutes here to really evaluate and connect to the cards, starting right now. Okay, here are the answers for your questions. So, for the first question, the answer is be assertive. For the second question here, the answer is let go. And for the answer to your third question, the answer is get more information. And I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 3C, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. That will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 3C, and take care. Hello, 4D, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. The tarot cards here are the Sun in reverse, the Six of Cups upright, the Hanged Man upright, the Hierophant upright, the Magician in reverse, and the Five of Cups in reverse. And then for the Oracle cards, we have 47, 9th House, Exploration, and 37, descendant invitation. So 7, I think, could be an important number for you all. And 7 also does relate to the 7th house. Descendant is the line where the 7th house begins. I will read from the guidebook for those later on. As well as for squirrel, preparation, get ready for big changes. And then there's more cards that will be shown later on. They will be answers to any questions that you have. You'll see what I mean when we get to that part of your reading. But for now, let's just focus on the cards that are already laid out here. So right off the bat, I feel like for you all during this time period for this winter or these next few months, it seems like the major theme of your life will be about healing from something from the past. That especially relates to that 6 of Cups upright card that usually can, to me, indicate childhood things that we need to heal from. But for you all, I feel like there's something recently that's happened in your life that you need to heal from. So it feels like during this part of life, you kind of need to take a break. And we have Squirrel with saying you need to get ready for big changes. I feel like during this period, there will be progress toward big changes being made, but the big changes won't necessarily happen until after this time period for most of you. It feels like when I think of the squirrel and when it's talking about preparation, it makes me think of a squirrel preparing for winter, where this is kind of like a hibernation period for a lot of you. Actually, because it focuses on healing, and I talk about how healing is a very individual journey, and with the Hangman, it's saying that there's something that you need to let go of. And it really does feel like this is something that has been recent. With the Sun in reverse, I feel like this thing that has happened has impacted your mental health in some way, more specifically just your happiness, where it feels like this thing that happened has taken away your happiness in a way. So, I do wanna say it feels like for many of you, this could be related to because descendant usually relates to love life. It could be related to a breakup of some kind. It could be a romantic relationship sort of breakup, or it could even just be the ending of a relationship of somebody who you were very close to. Descendant and 7th house can also be about people we're very close to. I think of it more so as friends that we're close to, if not romantic partners, because family is more so related to 4th and 10th house matters. So there's some sort of breakup that I feel happened recently for you, or you could just be not on good terms with somebody. And so I feel like even if you're still talking to this person, now's a time of kind of having that boundary of being on a break with them, of talking with them. And for those of you who have ended this relationship, ooh, with the Hangman here, okay. Okay. So some of you maybe are still in talks with somebody who or have some sort of relationship with somebody who you shouldn't. This person who maybe you haven't been on the best terms with. So if you have not let this person go yet, or if you haven't even given the relationship, friendship a break yet, then this is a good time to do that. With the Hanged Man, Spirit is saying, and with the Magician reverse being here. So this is just extra clarification for those of you who want to know if you're able to make this sort of relationship work out or if things are able to get better. That I don't think Spirit is really sensing that. And with the Hierophant, Spirit is saying you need to stand your ground. Even if, how do I explain this? In terms of this sort of relationship here, I feel like you could be maybe at some fault in the situation. It's weird. It doesn't really feel like anybody's like at a super major fault. It just feels like people are changing and shifting and going down different paths in life. And so because people have changed from who they once were, now it just doesn't make sense to have these people in your life anymore. And the same goes for you. You don't really fit the best in this other person's life anymore. It could be multiple people as well, or like a small group of people. I don't really get like everybody, but for one main person or maybe a small friend group, this is how it comes across for me. So it would be better to probably, and with the big changes coming. Oh, ninth house here too. I do want to bring up, a lot of you could be traveling during this time, but with the ninth house being here, it also makes me think that now is a time to focus more on your studies or your passions and hobbies. Passions and hobbies can be related to fifth house, but with ninth house, it's saying exploration. So now is a time for you to, and oh, yes. Okay, this is why I think you're really shifting and changing from this other person. The other person is shifting and changing from you. It just feels like you're on different paths. And so with ninth house, your guides are saying and spirit is saying for you to explore these parts of yourself that you haven't fully dived into yet. And that could include traveling, even moving for some of you. But it could also indicate just doing any new things that I think a lot of you have wanted to try that you haven't tried yet. And for any amount of unhappiness that you've been feeling lately with where you're at in life or where your relationships are at in life, spirit is saying that you'll be fulfilled by you alone. That doesn't mean you can't be around people, but I think you doing a lot of things by yourself during this period will be very healing for you because this is a moment of healing for you all that you have to do. And so spirit is saying that through this healing, I think a lot of you will also be very creative. That will be very healing, but it's about exploring anything. That could be something creative, which I just feel like will be for you all in general. I feel like a lot of you are very creative people just across the board. But with this exploration card, it's saying anything that you have been that you've always wanted to do that you've put aside, now is the time to look into starting to do those things. And I just inevitably find you being very passionate about these things. I'm also getting some of you may associate this more with Gemini energy, but this is also ninth house and Sagittarius energy because they're across from each other on the zodiac wheel. But I feel like a lot of you will really do a lot of studying during this time. Even if you're not in school, I just think I see you doing a lot of reading. I see you doing a lot of, it could be from textbooks even, but I just see you doing a lot of reading on certain subjects that you are very curious about. And I see you then incorporating those different subjects into your life. An obvious example I can think about is astrology. Okay, let's say that you want to know more about astrology and you want to be able to read your own chart and those close to you want to be able to read their charts. Then now would be a good time during this period to learn more about astrology, to learn more about how, like, oh, not just learning, but practicing as well with exploration. It's not just about learning about things, it's about practicing things. So let's say you start reading up on this astrology book, and then you start practicing, and I just think with doing that, it will make you more inspired. Doing this thing, exploring I think actually multiple different things during this time will keep you inspired for the things that you still feel inspired about. So you can feel inspired about new things, but for the things that you've already been doing in your life that maybe need more inspiration, exploring other areas, learning new things will help you in these other areas where maybe you've been unhappy. And also, I'm hearing that doing these things for yourself will fill any voids for any lost relationships or broken relationships in your life. And that will inevitably help with this hanged man energy of releasing. The Five of Cups in reverse is all about healing. And the Six of Cups is all about the past. And I talked about the Magician reverse previously as well. And for you all, I think that just mainly relates to the fact that well, for one thing, that being paired next to, not next to, but in the same reading as the squirrel, saying that big changes are coming, that indicates that the big changes, you can lay the foundation for big changes to happen, but I don't see too much happening right now. It's like I'm seeing a buildup of things that lead to big changes. Because now is the time for exploring and practicing rather than going full force into doing something, if that makes sense. Or even exposing your talents. For some of you, you'll realize during this time there's certain talents that you have once you explore these new topics or you start practicing more certain things. And so that will help you realize certain talents that you have. So now's not a time to expose those talents to the world or to people even closest to you. It's a time to hone in on your skills personally. The Hierophant reverse makes me, not reverse, upright makes me think of that as well. Where doing things for yourself right now, honing in on your skills, keeping to yourself, that will also, I think, shock people later on. Like, "Oh, I didn't know you had these talents. That's actually really cool." So, now is for laying the groundwork. As we're doing it's like you're in your research phase. Before you do a lot of the execution phase, you need to explore more. And you need to kind of keep these things to yourself because I think there's things you do need to correct and work on during this phase as well, so that I'm hearing so that you can perfect. And once you can perfect these certain skills, then it would be better to showcase to the world. And Hierophant is also Taurus energy, so if any of you are Tauruses or if you have strong Taurus placements, that could be significant. Also, for some reason, I'm hearing that during Taurus season could be an important time for you. Hmm. And I know the Hierophant typically isn't about, I know that we have Hierophant, but we also have Ninth House Exploration. The Hierophant typically is about doing things traditionally, but I just think what this is also indicating for your reading is that you should kind of go back to not even square one, but square zero, start fresh. So once we remove some of this clutter from our lives, once we remove relationships from our lives, then a lot of you will need to start from ground zero in terms of relationship building. I don't really see this being a good time to build new relationships, although you certainly can. I'm not saying to be completely alone and to not talk to people, but I think working on yourself right now will open you up to different relationships later on, as well as specifically like-minded individuals. I think now's the time for really finding parts of who you are, part of your identity. And so once you realize that more, I think it will be easier for you to find new and better connections later on as well. So the Hierophant is saying to also take things easy, start from square zero and build. Now's the time for building. And I see actually later on, like if you look back 6 months from now, you look back, you'll realize how much progress you've made. And you'll realize that connections start flowing into your life much easier. And with the Magician reverse too, it's like you won't even need to like manifest people into your life or romantic partners into your life. These people will feel naturally drawn to you because you'll be in this very new era of your life. That's a good way to describe it. You're entering this new era. And I see you being in this era for quite a bit. And it feels very light and happy, which is opposite of what the sun is saying, but it seems like whatever darkness you've recently experienced, any moments of loneliness, the Five of Cups in reverse is saying that too. Like any amount of, ooh, yes. Okay, so there's certain relationships, or at least one main relationship in your life right now, that is already making you feel quite lonely. And maybe that's because this person doesn't ask enough about how you are doing. Maybe it's because they kind of disregard you. Maybe they've been spending more time with other people as well. And I don't get the sense that anybody here is bad. Again, people are just changing and evolving. So any amount of loneliness you feel is because you're kind of staying stuck in this sort of relationship or in this sort of energy. So by moving forward, finding more parts of your identity, breaking those down into digestible parts, learning more about the world around you as well. That's the thing, learning more about different cultures could be important during this time, which is why I think traveling could be very important for a lot of you, like traveling somewhere you've never been before. Or even for some of you traveling with a person who's very different from you and you grow closer with them. Anyway, I just see that any loneliness that you've been experiencing recently, I see you getting unstuck from that by first working on removing these relationships and focusing on your own energy and focusing on healing yourself. And part of healing yourself is by exploring these new facets of life. I just see it being a time period of discovery. And also, Spirit is saying to keep an open mind, to not be, even though the Hierophant is here, to not be stuck in traditional thinking. Part of what helps us to move on is to experience new things and also to. I'm hearing that during this time, there will be a lot of like random strangers that you won't even necessarily be friends with. But during your experiences at this time, you'll learn a lot from either not low level acquaintances, as in like there's some, like how I explain, like people you're just not close to, like very basic acquaintances and people who are strangers, I think you'll learn a lot from. And now's a time period of really going with the flow and being open to other perspectives and other people's ways of living and thinking. I'll go into the guidebooks now, and I will only be reading from the challenge and gift portions, but we have 47 ninth house exploration. Challenge. When you finally break through and can see the far horizons, it can be difficult to reconcile the allure of those infinite possibilities with the familiarity of the people close to you. Both are important. Gift. Widen your horizon and expand your world. Explore in your mind, body, and soul. Teach what you know. The world is waiting for you. That's beautiful. And I do want to talk about that teaching what you know as well. The Hierophant can relate to that teaching sort of energy, even the ninth house, just in general. I think that you'll be able to teach from your experiences once you get into a better mental state, or once you're a little bit further removed from these hurtful experiences, you'll be able to help heal other people in some way. And also, I see that mainly being through, like, not you teaching classes or anything, but through the relationships you have. Now's a time period of learning from other people, and then in the future, other people who are close to you will be able to learn from you. Like, these new relationships that you form with people, those people will be able to learn from you, and I see you being able to learn more from other people as you continue on in life after healing from these prior hurtful experiences. Let's go to 37 now, which is Descendant Invitation Challenge. You give your power away when, instead of working together, you ask others to be what is missing in yourself. And yes, okay, that's the thing. So while you're changing during this time and other people are changing, you shouldn't ask other people to change. The Magician is in reverse. Like, you can't force anybody to change, and people won't be like, I think some of you have a very idealized image of certain people in your life because you think about who they used to be and instead of who they really are, which is actually unhealthy for you and for them. And I think other people could be like that towards you as well. So Spirit is saying that instead of trying to fix people, it's better to try and accept people for who they are. And if we can't do that, then that's okay. We have to let certain people go, or just really not talk to people as much because maybe we're just too different, right? And that doesn't have to mean people are bad. It's just that things are changing, things are different. Circumstances are different, and that's okay. Gift. Tend the inlet to your heart. Invite in relationships that are clear, healing, nurturing, self-responsible, and encouraging a mutual evolution. That's the thing. So while you're in this phase of working on healing yourself, your healing process will continue to evolve as you invite in more people who are more similar to you and who I think have gone through similar experiences as you. I think you'll find that toward the end of this winter period or this few month period, you'll start connecting more with people who have gone through similar experiences. And after this time period is done, you will continue to grow and foster those relationships. I also see you doing stuff like being in like almost like therapy groups or counseling groups. I see it being in a big group of people who, it makes me think of Alcoholics Anonymous. It doesn't have to be anything like that, but I see it being in a group of people where everybody's uplifting each other and sharing their own experiences, which then inevitably helps everybody in the group to evaluate how they can grow and heal themselves. Yeah, that's really cool. I see that something similar to that for all of you. And then let's go into the other guidebooks. We have Squirrel Preparation, Get Ready for Big Changes. Feel the anticipation of what you know is coming. Get ready, get everything ready and in place. This could be a new job, a new relationship, or a major move. There will no doubt be challenges, but you can prepare for them in a number of ways. The most important kind of readiness has to do with your mind. How smoothly you move through these changes is totally dependent on your attitude, thoughts, and beliefs. There's no need to scurry, no need to worry. Rather than rush, make each movement count. If you worry, it will just make everything a lot harder. Just do what you have to do to prepare. Don't get so bogged down in making list after list. This can help, but at this time, it's better to stay active, focused, and purposeful in your efforts. Get a sense of where you're going, even if you may change course later. Rely on family and close friends for support before and during this transition. And most important, keep breathing. Additional associations, gathering, activity, alertness, guardian. Yeah, so a lot of what this has said is what I was already saying, where it really is a time for preparing now and like getting work done to prepare for these big changes. I see big changes happening very shortly after this time period. Um, but Spirit is saying that there's no need to rush and there's no need to worry about how things will play out because I feel like this is a very divinely timed occurrence right now in your life where things will happen in a flowing way, where I things will just happen very naturally and without pressure. So things will feel like they're falling into place. And I think the more you also heal and you also work on yourself and you do this preparedness, there won't be any need to worry about things happening or not happening because you'll already have done all this work beforehand. Okay, so now what I'll have you do is I will have you look at these cards on the screen. And these represent answers to questions that you can have or that you may have. And you can think of any questions. I want for you to intuitively think of questions specifically as they relate to these cards as you are looking at them. They could be yes or no questions. They could be questions that relate to time periods. They could be questions that relate to anything I've said already in this reading, anything related to this time period, or just anything really that comes to mind intuitively as you look at these cards. I will give you some time. I will have some time on the screen on the video for you to connect with the cards. I'll give you a couple minutes. If you want to fast forward during this couple of minutes of more silence of me not talking and of you connecting with the cards, you can. If not, I will start that period of connection right now. All right, and here are the answers for your questions. So the answer for question 1 or card 1 is take action. For question 2, the answer is yes, exclamation point. And the question 3 answer is romance. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 4D, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with the stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR, that will be linked down below in the description. Thank you so much again, 4D, and take care. Hello, 5E, and welcome to your part of the Pick a Card reading video. The tarot cards here are Two of Wands upright, the Lovers in reverse, the Tower upright, the Nine of Swords upright, the Five of Wands in reverse, and the Three of Cups in reverse. And then for the Oracle cards, we have 6 Virgo Digest and 26 Neptune Visions. So I will read from the guidebooks for those later, but I do want to say that the number 6 could be an important part of your life right now. Oh, and the Lover's card is number 6. Okay. So the number 6 could be an important number in your life. 6, it makes sense from the energy of this reading, but 6 generally relates to reflection and it relates to inner healing. And then for the other oracle card, we have Badger, Perseverance, dig in and see it through to completion. And then later on in this reading, I will provide some cards for you to ask questions to, and then the answers will be provided through those cards. You'll see more of what I mean later on. I do want to say, some of you may feel also drawn to stack 4D, but I digress. So it feels like during this time, first of all, it seems like you might be traveling or moving because of the Two of Wands upright. And the Two of Wands and Three of Wands, I associate a lot of times and the Eight of Wands with moving or travel, so I just thought I would bring that up. I feel like you might have difficulties with either of those things, though, because of the Tower here and just everything else here. But it seems like now really is, if I were to say a key word or key phrase for you all, during this time period, it's a very reflective time. It's a time of reevaluating your priorities as well. And it seems like just in general, you won't get along with people during this time. It seems like I do want to bring this up before I forget. I wonder if a lot of you are very influenced by changing seasons. So especially if you live somewhere where it gets very cold and you can't socialize as much, like do as much outdoor activities. It seems like your energy and your personality, you could be very impacted by those things, by a lack of vitamin D as well. So that could be a big part of what's at play here actually, is it feels like you will be very disconnected from people, and you'll feel very alone and isolated. The Nine of Swords tells me that during this time you'll be very worried about things going on, and because the Tower is here, it feels like a lot of things will happen outside your control, or it feels like a lot of things will happen that you've been trying to prevent from happening. Such as, let's say, for example, maybe you are worried about getting laid off from work and then that ends up happening. I'm not saying that will happen, but just as an example, it feels like there's something you maybe have had an inkling about might happen, or something is happening, but you're setting it aside and now it will finally happen. The universe is like, we can't wait any longer, like, this has to happen. So there could be some inner turmoil going on around major changes that we have no control over. And also, it's weird because I say major changes, and the Tower can relate to major changes, but it feels like what you perceive as things being big are actually bigger in your mind than they actually are, is the best way I can describe it. Let me try and think of a really simple example as it relates to that. Let's say you have like a comfort restaurant, but then that comfort restaurant closes down, and for you and you go there like once a week, and then for you maybe take that to heart. You are affected by that more than you should be, is the way this comes across. So there are things that will happen that you will inflate to be bigger than they are, but Spirit is saying they actually aren't as big as you think, which is why it should be a very reflective period of just in general in life, but especially during this time of your life. Think about the things that you react to in a big way or things that affect you in a big way. Think about if they should impact you in such a big way. And here's the thing. In your present moment or things that have happened in the past, you can't affect how you reacted to situations, but moving forward, we can try to affect how we react. Now is an important time to reflect upon how we react to situations and trying to find better ways. And part of doing that is through reflection. Because if there's I feel like for this group, there's things that you've been suppressing and setting aside just in general. So think about the things you've been suppressing. We have Virgo Digest here. Now's the time to digest information and digest past events. How have they actually impacted you? How have you not fully looked into how they have impacted you? And it reminds me too of like, it doesn't have to be this extreme, but it reminds me of people who have lost a loved one, but then they don't fully grieve that. Anything in life that you haven't fully grieved. Like, let's say you did get laid off from a job recently, or that you will during this time, and you try to just like shove it off. With the Five of Wands in reverse, that's about conflict avoidance. So I think a lot of you do that with yourself and with other people. So if there's a big event that happens or something unfavorable that happens, I think a lot of you, even though we have the card about being worried about things, I think you are somebody who maybe you're like this generally, or maybe it's just like this during this period of time where you get worried about things happening, but then they happen, and then it's like you try to you just worry about something else and you try to push that other thing under the rug. That's very much the energy it's giving. Or maybe it's that we're worrying about things we don't actually need to worry about as well. So there could be this big thing happening, but then we're worrying about something else completely different because that distracts you from this other thing that's happening, is also what's being shown here. So let's say your favorite restaurant did close down. You're worried about that instead of worrying about how, like, your house is getting foreclosed on. You know what I'm saying? It's like that was the last straw, is your favorite restaurant closing down, not this other major thing. So I think now's a good time to reflect upon also the things that distract us, because I think you are the type of person who generally does distract yourself from these big things that are going on, which I think Spirit is saying that you're more likely to worry if you're not willing to face these things that are actually going on or that have happened, because you just pile on the distractions instead of actually evaluating the things that need to be evaluated, looking at the things that need to be assessed. So Spirit is saying now is a reflective time for that, looking at how you distract yourself from things and how you, I think also during this time will add on more, almost it feels like you're almost going to add on more than you can handle because you're not directing your energy toward these other things in your life. So then you're just adding more stress by incorporating other stressful things into your life and having yourself again like be distracted by these other things, stressed out about these other things. And I think for a lot of you, you very much I think are the group that cares about other people in your life. So I think, well, first of all, I want to say that it seems like a lot of people in your life will be impacted by something. So let's just go back to this example. This favorite restaurant that you go to, maybe it's that you meet up every Sunday for lunch or for supper with your family or with a friend group at this place. And so that closing down, it's like that impacts everybody. But I still think that you're the one that takes on the emotional side of things more than other people. Like you elevate the emotions more than other people even do. But either way, it feels like there are things that will be happening in your life that impact more than just you. It will impact a lot of people. And so I see there being a lot of chaos because I think you like to keep, even though you're, I think, generally somebody who worries, or at least you will during this time period, I think you will still try to make sure other people are cared for during this time. So I think a lot of you will neglect your own needs during this time period because you'll be so focused on helping other people. But it's interesting too because with this spread, it makes me think that, well, I think you use other people as a distraction as well. It reminds me very much of reality TV. Like a lot of people say they watch reality TV because it distracts them from their real lives and it distracts from the drama of their real lives by looking at the drama of other people's lives. But then people sometimes incorporate the drama of like reality TV or like the show they're watching into their own lives. So that just adds to the distraction, the stress. That's actually a very good example for this. So it reminds me of that. But I want to say it's interesting how this kind of energy is showing up here because with the Lovers reverse and Three of Cups in reverse, which relate to friends and loved ones, specifically romantic relationships, I just see you in general feeling very disconnected. And I think it's because with the Tower being here, like so many things will be revealed to you at once, or so many things will happen at once. Things will be crumbling down at once, and I think it will make you inevitably have to finally focus on the things you've been neglecting in your life. And so because of that, I think you'll feel disconnected from people, and I think you'll also spend less time with people during this time. But I think too, Spirit is saying that this is a time of really looking at who's actually there for you, because I think you'll realize because you're there for other people so much, other people aren't always there for you. Maybe other people aren't really there for you at all. So it will help you realize during this reflection period of your life who is actually there for you. When you're going through tough times, these Tower moments, these Nine of Swords moments, who will actually show up for you? So I think there will be, how do I put this? Like disagreements, not even disagreements, because I think you're not going to be confrontational about this, but you'll just realize how actually alone you feel in some of your connections with people, because you'll realize that you give more than you receive in these connections. But I also just see you being, ooh, it's weird. Like, I think while you're having to focus on addressing these personal issues in your life, people will just, like your friends, will just, if you're not there as much to hang out or do whatever, they will just inevitably try to be around other people instead of you, if that makes sense, because they also don't want to be involved in your drama. So they're going to try to disconnect themselves as well. Same goes for this romantic partner. I do want to say, for this very, very, very select few of you, because we have the Lovers in reverse here and we have the Three of Cups in reverse, there could be something going on where, like, let's say if you have a romantic partner, then a friend could try to get with that person. Or if in the friend group, there's a friend that you have, they have a partner, and then there's another friend in the friend group that, like, ends up getting with that partner. I see there being a very big disconnect with that. It just seems like within your social circles, things will kind of crumble down as well because of this Tower moment. Because this Tower moment, even if there's different Tower moments for other people, they're going to be happening during this time. And so people, I think there's also, I want to talk about lack of trust being here. I feel like you have a hard time trusting other people as well, which I feel like some of you, that's also why you're very fearful and hyper vigilant of situations and of your connections, which is also why I feel like some of you could be codependent and wanting to be around and talk with certain people in your life so much, because you feel like if you don't maintain that, if you're not the one to put in effort and energy, then people will kind of backstab you. But here's the thing, you shouldn't do that kind of thing, because if people are going to talk about you bad behind your back or backstab you in some way, they will find a way to do that. So you shouldn't try to maintain these kinds of relationships with people that you are fearful of doing something to jeopardize the relationship, because those aren't the kind of people you want in your life anyway. So now's a good time for evaluating those things. I want to get back to that though, about the relationship stuff. It isn't a good time to start dating. It isn't a good time right now to make new friends, because I just feel like there's so much that you'll have to focus on for your own life right now, which I know is unfortunate. And I just feel like there will be strains on any romantic relationships that you have or any friendships that you have, because here's the thing too. I think some of you, even though you're not confrontational, I think you could internalize your feelings, and so people won't really know what's going on with you. I think people will think that you're just ignoring them, or I feel like you could struggle with communication as well, and I think you'll realize that more during this time, where you'll feel so disconnected that you won't communicate with people, so then that could cause tension and people will feel like you, like, hate them, or that, you don't trust them, which I think a lot of you just in general do struggle with trust issues. But with these Tower moments going on, I think a big message Spirit has for you, we have Perseverance too here, is to just do the best you can. You don't have to be perfect, and you also don't have to always be there for other people. Right now is a time of really being there for yourself, and it's a time of reflection for yourself. And that means evaluating your relationships and such as well, getting rid of negative influences, but it's also a time of really evaluating. I think a lot of you have bad habits that you'll need to work on during this time in terms of how you cope, and also your communication. I think a lot of you aren't very good at that. With Two of Wands too, it makes me think of communication style that a lot of you could escape issues. So with the Tower being here, anything, again, that you've escaped, that you haven't addressed head on, and that includes how you communicate with people, how you're feeling, that will come to a front at this point in time. But Spirit is saying no matter what is going on right now, that you need to stop running away from certain issues. It's time to finally work through things And then once we're done working through these issues, we need to find better ways to prevent these tower moments from happening in the future, because a lot of these tower moments do feel like kind of self-imposed, actually. So in order to prevent these in the future, we need to work on communicating better, and we need to work on self-care better, whatever it is that you escape from. We need to now working during this time, we need to work on how to prevent those things from happening in the future by working on those things now. Does that make sense? So completing what needs to be completed now. And also for some of you, like, if you put things on the back burner, like responsibilities, Spirit is saying, doing things, even if it's a little bit at a time, you need to work on doing your responsibilities instead of pushing them aside, because then it will be too much at once for you, and then it will just be so overwhelming, and then that will cause a lot more worry. Let's go into the guidebooks now. So first we have number 6, which is Virgo and Digest, and I will only be reading from the challenging gift portions. It says, challenge. If you just weed the garden and don't plant or cultivate, all you'll have is an empty bed. Editing without creating gives you no content. Sometimes you have to ask the inner editor to take a break and let the creative process flow, then let the editor clean and polish. And that's the thing too, I think some of you are just so afraid of putting yourself out there and also being fully yourself. I think a lot of you don't really, maybe even haven't ever shown fully who you are to people. So Spirit is saying for you to, that's part of that evaluating that you need to do. It's like the fear that you hold, the Nine of Swords energy, the fear that you hold. What are you so worried about other people seeing in you? And then gift. This world is gloriously complex. Virgo encourages us to see how the details fit together, how the leaves and twigs make up a forest. Light and shadow co-create our image of the whole. Rather than judge the worth of the part, pay attention to the necessary role each piece plays. The chaff protects wheat so it can grow, and therefore has value even if it's not edible. Perceive not just with your mind, but with mind, heart, and soul together. That's the thing. With this disconnection that you have with other people and with yourself, I think you really need to work on connecting mind, body, and spirit, and connecting mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health, because things do feel very disconnected right now. And I think even though this is a period of that disconnection, I feel like this has kind of been a theme throughout your life. So Spirit is saying that while you go through this now, you need to work on connecting the pieces together and realizing how, like, if your mental health is affected, it impacts your physical health and vice versa. Okay. And then for the other oracle card in this pile, we have 26 Neptune Vision, and it says challenge. Neptune overwhelm can turn acceptance into passivity, imagination into illusion, sensitivity and the hunger for spirit into addiction. Watch for water damage. Yeah, I was seeing any sort of addictive stuff. That's why I was bringing up bad habits. So anything that you are obsessive over, it's time to evaluate how we can be less obsessive and have that balance of having a healthier relationship, not just with people, but with things in our life. It seems like you could deal with extremes, highs and lows. So just something to watch out for. And also imagination into illusion. Part of that, I think, is that a lot of you just expect things to get better without putting in the work. So Spirit is saying part of what you need to do is to do that reflective work, because you can't just heal from things. You can't just be better if you don't actually see where it is that you need to do better or heal. And then we have gift. Allow yourself to float, to swim in the great ocean of the collective consciousness. Soak up the presence of divine soul. There is no separation between you and all sentient beings, between you and the realms of gods and spirits. And so now is also a time of, with that reflection, it could be that meditation would be important for you right now. So that's something to consider. Also, like different visualization exercise other than just meditating. You can look those up on YouTube. That would be helpful, because sometimes for, I think, this group, it can be hard to get out of your head. So I think for me, I'm like this too. So it can be helpful to actually look up those things on YouTube, visualization exercises as an example. And that can really help you to get out of your own mind by focusing on the words other people are saying to you. And then when you have to visualize, allowing those images to just flow through you, and don't question, just allow them to flow through into your third eye and to your mind. And then let's go into the other guidebook. So we have Badger, Perseverance, dig in and see it through to completion. Don't give up so easily. You're going to have to be more patient and more persistent than you've ever been. The result or answer isn't that far away, but you've just got to hang in there and stay with it. too often in the past, you've tended to either give up too easily or else try shortcuts through relationships, career, and even your spiritual growth. That's the thing. I think a lot of you do get your happiness through other people. So that's why it's so important and crucial for you to focus on your own well-being during this time instead of being happy through other people's successes or being happy through only doing things for other people. If it's important enough for you to ask the question, then it's just as important that you remain steady in your pursuit of the answer. Before I forget to, I want to talk about, giving up. Like, there were those escapist tendencies that I brought up, how I think a lot of you do have that. So now it's a time to not run away. And also shortcuts through relationships, career, spiritual path. Yeah, I think you distract from your own life through other people's lives. It's really like what I was saying earlier. Okay, it doesn't matter if you've got a few inches or several miles to go. Take your time, no need to hurry, and keep your sights on the objective. You'll have to put your feelings and any ambivalence aside for the time being. See, I actually think you do need to evaluate your feelings during this time. But I think it's about your feelings about other people and external things. Focus on the internal first before external. And see how they can connect. Connect, because what I talked about before, those disconnections, so you need to connect. So you need to connect to things internally before connecting internal to external right away. Indeed, you might even meet some resistance, but don't give up. You really are almost there. But before getting there, first live in the present. It's only from this moment that you can truly proceed on your journey to get wherever you're headed, so go to it. Additional associations. Self-reliance, yes. Determination, assertiveness, and willingness. Now's the time to be assertive. And I'm hearing Spirit say, like, don't give up on yourself and to cherish your own life is what I want to say. And I feel like Spirit wants to say you are able to be happy, and this period of time will be difficult, but that you will get through it. You just have to find that drive within yourself. And I feel like some of you just in general lack motivation for things, so find things that motivate you. Like if there's a goal you have, then you can be like, if I work on myself and I work on connecting these pieces together now, then I know that this goal I have in the future is more attainable. Think about things like that. But also don't focus too much on the future and take small steps, baby steps, focus on the present. Because I think, focusing on the past and on the future is something that you could struggle with during this time. But I think it's something probably a lot of you struggle with in general anyway. So focus more on the present moment. Okay, so I will go on to these cards now on the screen. I will have you look at these cards, and I really want you to feel intuitively what questions come to mind when you look at these cards. These cards are answers to your questions, and these questions could be about anything. They could be yes or no questions. They could be about date and time. They could be about anything I've talked about in this reading, anything about this time period, this winter or this December to March period. It could be about literally anything in your life going on or just any questions in general, because I just want you to think of intuitively whatever questions come to mind with each of these individual cards that you are looking at on the screen. I will give you a couple of minutes to really meditate with these cards and really connect with them, starting right now. All right, here are the answers for your questions. So for question 1, the answer is there's something better. For the second card, for your second question, the answer is recovery. And for your third question, the answer is no with an exclamation point. I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, 5E, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you can like the video down below. You can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comment again sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. And you can check out my ASMR channel, Brittney's ASMR. That will be linked in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, 5E, and take care.